Hello everyone, welcome once again to Investing with the Difference. So we got a great feedback on our last video, which we did a short video with a lot of news items, a perspective and so on. So we are going to keep doing this. I believe I agree that there is a lot of information overload and we don't want to spend a lot of time while trying to catch up with what's happening. So in general, I think there's a lot of activity happening in EOS world. We are going to talk about some interesting projects. We are going to talk about markets. And first of all, what is keeping us busy? We have at Blockstart, we have been working with developers, startups, and as I told you, like we have been very actively looking to develop this developer community. And when we realized that the educational content was missing, and when we go to these certification programs in blockchain and so on, we realized that they are super expensive and not a good fit for people who are trying to come into a pretty kind of a real world use case scenarios where anybody can go develop applications. Even the EOS courses were not available. So we have been working with the community. We have started some webinars. So we will share the details. We have been doing some videos on it. So do join this. We are trying to make it as affordable as we can. We are subsidizing it from our side. The community support is amazing. Our first webinar will be run by EOS Canada, Alexander Broguet. He's one of the greatest instructor in the EOS world. I'm sure you have seen EOS Canada videos on learning about EOS. So if you are, even if you are like, just interested in blockchain technology, this is a module 1. It's not necessarily for developers only. But if you are a developer who's looking to join, do make sure that you don't miss these webinars. We will post the link down there. The other thing which we are involved in is I'm very excited to be participating in the Detroit blockchain fintech. So I already did a video on it, so let's not get too much into details, but basic idea is that we are creating these regional communities, and I'm really happy with EOS Detroit and Detroit Blockchain Center. They're getting all the local organizations together and creating this kind of environment where they can support more and more blockchain activity, and especially around EOS. Now let's go to the market. So as you know that we had a big dip over last couple of days. It's usual. I think we had a big run up. We had multiple stages of run up in last month or so, and even now I think after this big drop which people are citing, we have not really gone down in market cap. If you remember, we ran up from 110 120 billion to 131 now, even after this correction. On the other hand, I think EOS has been hit a little harder. It's been underperforming in the last 24 hours or so. But remember that it has outperformed by such a huge margin that even if you look at the last 1 month performance, EOS is way ahead of anybody else. Recent rally has been driven by Ripple because of usual pump and dump scenario where Coinbase is listing Ripple and it has been running up. But I think it's a good, at least that market is not crashing down below the support areas above the breakouts. And the reason I'm going to show you is this again, the EOS chart. Now this is EOS versus Bitcoin. Even though some people are like kind of worried about this last couple of days where EOS is underperforming the Bitcoin, but remember we are talking about such a huge performance against Bitcoin. We have gone all the way up from here, so it's this correction is not significant. I'm still happy that we are above the breakout levels. I will be more worried when we go below these breakout levels, and also we still have a pretty strong uptrend, and we are not really worried, at least on the technical indication perspective. Now let's get to the news. I think there is some really positive news and some great progress happening in EOS world. So without wasting any time, Tapatalk, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. I have not used this. I was not aware of this interestingly. But what I realized is a lot of people are telling me how big this news is, because this is a platform. It's like Reddit. It's like some of the big, like they compare it with Twitter and Reddit because they have 300 million users. They have come out and announced that they are going to launch their reward system. They recently, like a couple of years back, they announced this gold points. Basically, this is to monetize these forums. So this is an online forum platform which is mobile first. The reason these forums are better, because if you see Reddit and so on, they are built on web and then people are moving to mobile. These guys have been gaining a lot of significance because they are using mobile first approach, and we have seen in today's world that a lot of applications overtake existing application who are mobile first. And they're actually already receiving like donations and so on, and they're using the standard platform, and they have realized the power of EOS because of the free transactions and the blockchain benefits, and they have announced that they are going to build their reward system on EOS. So you're talking about 300 million users. This is kind of the mass adoption application I think we are looking for. Again, this is not really a social media or a forum running on EOS. This is just the reward system. But this is great because they are not just going for the fad. They are not going for running their whole app on blockchain, which is not necessary in their case yet. And they are just building the reward system. And this is very, very positive news for EOS. Then again, I think we talked about PEOS. So the news is that they already airdropped. So the good news is that they take a very recent snapshot on 15th of February, and they have done 1:1 airdrop. I still don't know the quality of this project in terms of whether this will be really successful. But again, these are free tokens, and they are almost dropping 1 billion PEOS. So let's see how this goes. Then finally, EOS name service, if you're not aware of it, I'm sure if you're tracking Cypherglass and everything EOS, you must be aware of it because Rob Finch has been talking about quite a lot. But I really love this because I think we need to realize, and I'm going to talk about a couple of other projects which are very critical in this in EOS world. When we are using EOS accounts, soon as you see more and more public application like Tapatalk and some other application we're talking about where you're in a social forum and you're looking for somebody else. Sometimes you're looking for like good email address and so on. Similarly, the EOS account names will be very popular. So for example, if I want something like IWAD, which is investing with a difference, I can actually buy right now IWAD.VR, IWAD.Y, and so on. Similarly, if I'm looking for Raman, my name, and if I search all these names, you can have actual account names less than 12 characters, which is the traditional one, which is available, or your Genesis account. And I can actually buy Raman.VR, Raman.AI, and these are not super expensive. So if you remember, if you want to buy a smaller name, it was very expensive. You had to go through a bidding process and so on. Now those people like Start EOS and some of these big buyers who spent like thousands of EOS to buy these domains, now they're allocating these kind of names. So for example, if you are just looking for, let's say, VR itself, so you can say, oh, VR.VR. Now this is gone, but VR.AI means there are a lot of great names. The shorter the name, of course, the cost will be higher because people like to use shorter names. But I think just say name, and you say name.vr is available. So you can search anything you like, and it is very powerful because EOS account names are something which will be very popular. So if you are looking to buy these, go try out EOS name service. If you use our referral link, we will share with you, you will get 5% discount. So go ahead and try this if you are interested in creating this, and it's very, very exciting news. Now let's move on the news. EOSIO version 1.7 is out. Now this is like, there's not a lot of information here unless you're a developer, but what I wanted to highlight is people always talk about, oh, what is Block One doing, why they are not coming out with products and so on. You need to also understand that EOS is a technology which all of us are using, communities building. We are talking about so many projects which are successful, but this is a software which needs to be supported. There are a lot of bugs to be fixed even now. There are a lot of tools to be enabled for users, for developers. When I run developer workshops, I see that there are so many missing things, and the base layer can be improved so much. The performance increase, which Block One is working on. But look at these changes. So many fixes, so many additions. Some of them are enhancements, some of them are tool fixes, bug fixes, but the list is huge. And this is the kind of development Block One is doing on a day-to-day basis, improving the base layer software, which is needed because it's a cutting-edge technology. There are a lot of development still to be done, and this is why I think we should not only focus on, oh, Block One is not coming out with their wallet. Yes, I think all of us are waiting for that, and it will be great. But we need to also appreciate that they are the technology provider, and their engineers should be first making sure that all the basic protocol level tools are the best in class. They don't have any bugs, because that's what all of us rely on building for applications and so on. But in the parallel, I think, as I said, community is building. LiquidApps has been launching. I think they're planning the launch in the next couple of days. And what is important is what they're highlighting, the use of LiquidApps. One of the big thing, a lot of people were worried about the history node, and what they are showing you is a way that actually a full history node can be much cheaper running on chain instead of trying to store it offline and providing this kind of APIs using hard disk. They are saying that using a full history node, you can you can use this DApp DSP system, the new ecosystem they are building, which will really enable a lot more people to create it, and they can monetize it, because now the DApp providers or DApp developers who are actually going to use these history nodes, they can pay these DSPs who are running this DApp framework. So this is an amazing model. I think this can be a monetization model, because some of these block producers whom we all support, they are already running history nodes, and they are just doing it for the good of the community, but we need more and more of them to do it, and to do it you need to monetize it. So this is a great article to read if you are interested in the history node challenge, and I would say that this is a great tool which LiquidApps is building. Of course, I keep reminding you that the LiquidApps is building this whole framework on top of EOS mainnet to make the RAM cheaper, to make storage and so on. I would say that you should explore this if you're a DApp developer. We are working very closely with them to bring out the tools and so on to developers very soon. So we will cover more of this, but let's move on for now. Riddle, which is a project which I'm very excited about. They have recently announced rebranding, but more importantly, they have shared how Riddle will work. And some of these things are basically around how the Riddle token will be used for rating the site. And as a community, we can, by using this rating system, which is designed in a way that you cannot really game the system, and they are making sure that you're able to highlight the scams, you're able to highlight the good applications and so on using your Riddle token. They also have a mining feature where how they are rewarding people for voting. This was explained actually in one of the comments, which people asked, why should I really be rating if there is no reward? And they have explained how you can become a miner where you are actually getting rewarded for rating first, and for every person who rates and comes later, he can get rewarded. So it's a great thing. I think over long term, I would like to see these kind of use cases being built, because this will really make a lot of difference on how we use the web applications, which community can really build a secure environment, and we can avoid getting scammed by some fake sites and so on. What else is happening? As I said, I will talk about a few projects which I'm excited about. As you know, augmented reality is a huge use case. Infiniverse is one of my favorite application in this space. They have been continuously evolving. They made another new release of their mobile application running on both Android and iOS, and you can now take this kind of augmented reality. Like, if you remember, they sold the virtual land using Infiniverse token, which was actually airdropped to EOS token holders. But also now in the app you can create these kind of screenshots. You can actually have these virtual items in the real world, and I think this is just a great platform for building augmented reality games and so on. And I'm sure that this will be a great project for a lot of developers. They're also participating with D-Goods and NFT Goods, so this is going to be a very exciting time ahead for us. Then Billionaire Token was airdropped, and they're launching soon. I'm not very familiar with them, but a lot of people are excited about it. I think one of the reason is that they have very limited token supply, and they are using some with stake mining. This is the news which I wanted to talk about. I'm not very familiar with Billionaire Token itself, but Stakemine is an application where they are trying to reward you with airdrops for staking your CPU and net bandwidth. This is very exciting because I think we already saw Chintai and other places where you can lease it. But this is a different model. What they're trying to say is that you can earn airdrops if you are helping that particular DApp with the bandwidth. So in this model, you're not really trying to gain EOS by leasing or going through another platform. You are directly working with the app which you believe in, and they are rewarding you with that token because you believe in that app. So basically it's an indirect way of investing. Instead of investing money, you're investing your bandwidth, which is free for you because you're just a holder of EOS tokens, and that's how you're earning that token. So this is some of the great exciting projects which I believe are really enhancing the EOS ecosystem, while of course I think we continue to bring you this news. We are working with developers. We want to just make sure that you are as excited as we are about how EOS is progressing. Some big apps are coming every week. We are seeing these announcements. The tools are improving. But I think we are still in early days. Remember this, that we still don't have that kind of like mass adoption, that kind of day-to-day usage of EOS, and but the kind of application which are coming and the kind of developers I meet every day, I would say that it's not very far. That's what our excitement level is. But I would love to hear more feedback from you. I hope, again, we try to cover as much as we can in the EOS ecosystem, so that you can be as excited as we are. And again, I will keep reminding you, join us in building stuff, because right now I think this is a golden opportunity to join at the early stages of this new revolution, and we can really see how things improve when you're as a developer. As soon as I spend more time with developers, I learn so much more about the potential as compared to just as an investor who is just sitting outside and waiting. So that is something I would highly recommend, to learn a little bit more about blockchain, because even if as a user or the future technology, you will find that if you are not learning the basics today, you will not be able to really appreciate how well the progress is. So thanks once again for joining, and we look forward to bring more and more ecosystem updates from EOS. And we maybe by end of this week we will have a lot more news, just like we had last week. And this is the nature of this blockchain environment. So thank you, bye bye, and have a great week.